It's time for the Donkey Kong Bonanza review for the Nintendo Switch 2. I haven't played a Donkey Kong game in a long time. I beat Donkey Kong Country a few years ago, and before that it was actually Barrel Blast for the Wii when I was actually making a review for it. I've never played the N64 title, so this will be my first 3D platforming Donkey Kong game. The story is about how DK is a part of a mining operation, digging for gold and bananas, which are actually called Banandium gems. After finding one, a gigantic molten boulder seems to come out of nowhere and causes a violent tempest which sucks the bananas and crew members, including DK, towards the boulder, which sinks deep into the ground. After a multitude of events take place, DK meets up with a strange talking rock who turns out to be Pauline from Mario Odyssey, only as a teenager. As she begins to sing, this helps DK transform into his Kong Bonanza. In this form, DK gains strength for a limited time, which can help him break through tough objects like concrete with ease. The point of the game is to travel to the core of the planet. In doing so, you'll land in many different layers, all of which have their own theme, puzzles, obstacles, enemies, and of course, bananas. If you've played Super Mario Odyssey before, you'll recognize the similarities of gameplay mechanics in this game. That isn't to say it's a clone, but seeing how both games were developed by the same studio team, there are definitely likenesses between both games, and apparently Tears of the Kingdom as well. You know what would have sucked, other than the giant molten boulder? It's if the game had a time limit. Thank goodness it doesn't, because just exploring each layer is super fun. DK's strength comes in handy with this, as he can smash his way through almost any terrain. Doing so will let you find gold pockets, fossils, treasure chests, and bananas. Gold is important, as some NPCs called fractones require it if you want to open up certain challenges or create barrel shortcuts. It's also needed to create getaways, private rooms to relax and take a nap in. I liked how the getaways would become more aesthetically inviting, and the bed became more comfortable as you increased the number of getaways in the same layer. As you settled down for a bit, Pauline would talk to DK about various things, which could be about her life, or the layer itself, or whatever. It was charming to say the least. Besides currency, gold is also needed to regenerate your Bananergy, which lets you transform into a Bonanza state. Thankfully, you don't need much gold to do so, and even if you don't have enough, you can still transform by using cans of melon juice in your inventory. Gaining gold isn't difficult, especially if you just love to dig around the layer. You'll lose 500 gold if you get hit too many times, or fall off a ledge and don't have any balloons to save you. Even though most fractones don't require much gold to perform an action, this tree fractone is quite greedy and will eat up a lot. Reminds me of the Luma that love to eat starbits in Galaxy. Bananas are arguably the main item you'll want to find. After finding 5 of them, you'll gain a skill point to use in a modest skill tree. Many of the skills are unavailable at first, but this is because they apply to other Bonanza transformations. Speaking of, the Zebra Bonanza lets you run at fast speeds, great for crossing crumbling platforms or running across water. The Ostrich Bonanza lets you fly around for a bit and glide through the air. There are more Bonanzas than this, and each one is fun to use in the right situations. The terrain isn't just for smashing through. You can pick up chunks and swing them against enemies, or even hazardous brambles to destroy them. You can also go chunk surfing, especially helpful against lava, and non-stone terrain can stick together, helping you create your own bridges to difficult-to-reach areas. Throughout each layer, you'll find locked challenge doors. Using Pauline's powerful voice can unlock these, and each one contains an A to B platforming stage where the goal is to find up to 3 bananas. The first is pretty simple to find, the second is more difficult, and the third can sometimes be quite the head-scratcher. It's best to upgrade your sonar ability in your skill tree, as this can help you find the bananas through walls. In addition, it can also help you find fossils around a layer. These are used as currency in exchange for different outfits for you and Pauline, and each one provides a unique bonus. You can also use fossils in exchange for new DK fur colors, but these are purely cosmetic only. The treasure chest can hold various items, including fossil maps. You can pin fossils or certain points of interest on the map, which was nice, although I wish you could have zoomed in more on the map itself. The graphics look fantastic. Everything is vibrant and colorful, and the draw distance was usually really good, although there were instances of objects rendering deep into the background. I especially like the attention to detail of the objects, such as how these leaves look like orangutans, or how this hill looks like a monkey face. The frame rate stayed at a consistent 60 FPS when docked, however, unfortunately, when there was just a ton of graphical assets on screen, the FPS noticeably dipped, and this is especially true for the final boss, where certain points drop to about 15 FPS. I'd say at least 95% of the time, though, the frame rate stayed consistently up. The controls were pretty much perfect. I liked how X was used to punch up and B was used to punch down. This felt natural as the punch directions mimicked the face buttons on the controller. There's a 2-player mode where the second player can use Pauline to shout word chunks at enemies in the terrain. This also came in handy if you wanted to quickly dig out a tunnel. It's pretty fun, but I prefer single player. The music was either meh or amazing. The themes of the layers were honestly forgettable, but the Bonanza themes were awesome. My favorite is the Kong Bonanza. The boss fights were unfortunately too easy. Like, really too easy. If you want to give yourself a challenge, don't transform, although some require you to do so. It wasn't until far into the game did the boss fights actually become challenging. Now, even though most are easy, a lot of them are still fun and mix things up a bit like this one. I will say that the final boss fight was fantastic, so much so that it alone has bumped up my score for the game at the end of the video. You can gain certain items or terrain textures with Amiibo, and as of this video, I don't have the DK and Pauline Amiibo. My Zelda theme Amiibo get me these giant stone boulders, which is a thing, I guess? There's an artist mode where you can carve and paint different statues to your liking. I honestly have zero interest in this, but it's here for those who would enjoy it. There were a few glitches I ran into, mostly graphical, that didn't really hurt anything, although there were a couple instances where it would look like I picked up a chunk of a certain terrain, but instead I got a different type, which was odd and frustrating. DK and Pauline's journey to the center of the planet is packed with adventure. It's so satisfying to just break through terrain with ease, and using the different abilities of the Bonanza states is really fun. I will say that there was a point where my level of fun plateaued, and I was just ready to get to the end. Fortunately, this was near the end of the game, and the final boss reinvigorated my spirit, and I beat the game on a positive note. And, because the final boss was so much fun, I decided to bump up the score 1/4 point. So therefore, this game gets a 4.5 out of 5 with the title of Epic.